Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man BTM here, bringing you back to the Black Tiger Miner YouTube channel. And today we're talking about XRP, and XRP survived the first quarter, right? And a lot of people were saying XRP was going to zero, XRP wasn't going to make it, XRP's not going to actually be a crypto. XRP's not going to keep its value. XRP is going to fade out. Uh, the XRP lawsuit is going to kill XRP. XRP is not going to survive the Trump administration. XRP is not a good crypto. XRP is a scam. XRP is trying to remember what all people were saying. But as you see, XRP survived the first quarter, right? We are here and we are live. And with all the things in the news going on, XRP might actually start pumping once this tariff, what is it, Liberation Day happens. I think it's going to survive Liberation Day and it's going to continue to push forward and be there to actually start to pump within the next several months. Keep an eye on XRP. And if you can see here, I'm going to turn the spotlight on. This is the fear in, sorry, this is the altcoin index. And you can see here for CoinMarketCap, the altcoin index is at 17, right? So we're not even close to any part of pushing up, right? Yesterday it was at 17. Last week it was at negative 19. Last month is negative 21. Yearly high and low is December 24th. So there's a long way to go before our altcoin season gets to the 80% or 50%. So you can see altcoin season index is down, right? So people are saying the altcoin season is past. The bear run is over. The bull run's over. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs, kings, queens, and in betweens. It hadn't even started yet. Top 100 coins performance over 90 days. You can see XRP is right here at down 1.8%. XDC is down 4%. OKB is down 4.5. Bitcoin is at 13.5. What is DEXE is 17%. Monero is up 11%. Weird. Leo's up 2.4. PAXG is up what is that? 16, 19%. Just making a note because I didn't actually see this earlier. IP is up 71%. What is this? Trump's up 55%. PAXG BERA. I need to, what is that? BERA. Anybody into that or know what it is? Form is up 2 or 481. I can't see today. Look at all these that are in the red. All these cryptocurrencies. Like I've been telling you guys, in this bull run, a lot of cryptocurrencies are going to disappear, guys. They're not going to be here. They're not going to make it. They're not going to pull through. So this is, I don't know why it always shows me market cap. So this is XRP. And let's start at the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart showing it is flat at $0 or $2. Wow. Keep it moving. 15-minute chart showing it is $2, and it is still holding this resistance line at $2. Looks like we had a volume push up, a MACD cross, and the volume came back down on the 15-minute chart. On the 1-hour chart showing similar. We're holding that resistance lines at $2. It was going down pretty much most of the day. Pumped a little bit this morning. We are building volume, and we did have a MACD cross, and the MACD is pushing up. And on the 4-hour chart, looks like is a big red candle, so it's coming down for us to pick it up at a MACD cross. I'm going to go back and check the RSI. It's weird. They used to show me two indicators. I guess they want you to sign up because now they only show you one indicator. So on the RSI indicator, RSI is down pretty low on the 4-hour chart. Look at the 1-hour chart. Looks like it's coming up. It's in the RSI is 48 and based RSI moving average is 43. So don't expect the top to blow off today. RSI is kind of flat. Based RSI is up on the 15-minute chart. And look at the 5-minute chart. RSI is down to 43. 41. Based RSI moving average is 43. So again, probably not going to get too much movement today. But let's look at Twitter. So this is Crypto Cena. Alan Gitzinghauser said what? This is XRP rumors. Ripple CFO fireside chat. Wild video includes paid promotions. Let's check this out real quick and come to the video.
Hey, everybody. This is the Digital Asset Investor.
Weird.
Before we get going, don't forget, if you want to join the Patreon, you go to DAI. If you'd prefer to join, it's less than a cup of coffee. If you prefer to join through YouTube, you can click the join button below any of my videos. All right. It's almost that time, folks. Don't get left out.
XRP community, the SEC versus Ripple case is over. Now the path is clear, and the celebration at XRP Las Vegas 2025 just went 10x. And you need to be there May 30th and 31st at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. Hear from White House Crypto Council members on stage, including Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Giancarlo. You'll also hear from Dr. Christopher Brummer from Blueprint. And one lucky builder developer will win a $25,000 prize for the best Web3 project idea. Go to the EZA app to register for your chance to win $25K. The excitement is building for XRP Las Vegas 2025, the world's largest XRP conference. Get your tickets now and lock in.
Lock in, folks. Looks like the markets are recovering a little bit, slowly but surely. XRP's at 209. Nothing crazy to talk about there. Speaking of crazy Michael Saylor has teamed up and team added another 22,000 Bitcoin. Now look, Bitcoin is his thing, and even though I don't agree with a lot of what he's doing, what I do agree with is, like I've said 1,000 times, what I do is when markets are like this, if I've got money waiting on the sidelines, that's when these are the times when I buy. And then, and if I don't have money on the sidelines, I just go away from it for a while, because in the mid to long term, it's XRP, folks. Stuart Alderati, looking forward to my fireside chat with Chris Giancarlo this Friday in New York City. And these guys are, Wharton is thrilled to announce senior advisor Chris Giancarlo, speaker at Demo and Innovation Day next Friday, April 4th at the Penn Club of New York. Look at this. This is, I guess, last year. He was with the Winklevoss brothers. Those guys are big boys. And I've met Chris Giancarlo. He's a little shorter, but compared to those guys, anybody's short. Okay. Do we have a no taxes arm race coming in the world? because we keep seeing it being teased that there's not going to be any taxes on crypto, and maybe they even try to get rid of the IRS. Here's what's going on in Canada.
But by contrast, is to put Canada first. And that is why I am announcing today the Canada First Reinvestment Tax Cut. No capital gains when you reinvest the money here in Canada. What do you think?
Now, is Trump a genius or is he a genius? They weren't talking like this before Trump started doing all the things to attract business here, were they?
Agree with that? So let's go back to my example. The factory sells the land to the home builder.
We don't have to listen to all of that. I just wanted you to see the gist of it. Now, folks, regardless of what these markets are doing, you got to be focused on the big picture. And here it is.
There's two big legislative initiatives right now.
By the way, this is the Robinhood. I think this is the Robinhood CEO.
Stablecoin and market structure. Stablecoin is going to come first, and I think that'll be welcome and it's good. But market structure is what we're really excited about. And I think that's the mechanism by which we'll have clarity on how we can incorporate crypto technology into real world TradFi assets like securities, also like yield bearing stable coins, as well as prediction markets. We'll have to outline what qualifies as a crypto asset security versus a crypto asset commodity, and also what steps we would need to take as a platform to list crypto asset securities, and what would it take as a company or as an issuer to actually issue crypto asset securities to the American public. I think those are the big questions, and getting legislation to help us answer the questions is what's going to unlock the true power of crypto technology.
You better believe it. And then there was this one.
That when you look at the regulatory priorities, though, they're not usually focused on that segment of the market at all. So even in the US, their Q1 is completely devoted to stablecoins, and then Q2 is going to be market structure. And so actually, Simon, I think that I saw you posted something about this earlier, which is, stablecoins are surging ahead, crypto markets down. It's an interesting direction of travel when you see where the regulation is going and then where the market will potentially follow, which is something I bang on about all the time, is that good regulation actually can drive markets forward in a really helpful way.
Yes, sir. Let's not forget when Maria Bartiromo just happened to ask Brad Garlinghouse this.
Brad, I want to get your take on what Japanese banks may be prepared.
It's weird. I guess everyone's talking about that. What Brad Garlinghouse said. So I want to go back to this video because it's pretty much the same thing. But she's right. As regulations come in and people get more trusting into crypto, they will subside to a lot of the pressures from different agencies and be able to invest deeper into crypto. Let me fast forward this to 50 seconds and let's see. Originally, this is Crypto Sensei talking, and the interview starts. And I think Brad asks the question around a minute 58. So let's see what he has to say about the overseas markets. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join the BTM Crypto News Network. Let's see what Brad has to say.
Enable you to do at this point?
Thank you. Congrats to, I think, the whole industry in a bunch of ways. As you know well, Ripple is really amongst the very first crypto companies to get sued by the SEC. We said then when it started that the SEC was going to be on the wrong side of the law as well as on the wrong side of history. It took longer than we would have liked to kind of prove that out, and more than $150 million of legal bills, but we're thrilled with the ultimate outcome. It allows us to really unlock the U.S. market, which has really been very hostile, with a lot of headwinds in the U.S. market for the whole crypto industry.
Yeah, for sure. And we saw investors react to it, XRP seeing a gain over the last week. But Brad, I want to get your take on what Japanese banks may be preparing to do in terms of adopting XRP. What
I didn't realize we were going to talk about this. Before I play this clip, what do you think he's going to say? I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff, speculation on Twitter. I can't believe half of it, right? What is he going to say? Let's listen.
can you tell us about the growth story at Ripple when you look across the world, overseas markets?
Well, once the United States government filed suit, we really were kind of frozen in the US market. And so about 95% of our customers today, Ripple's customers, are non-US financial institutions. And those are some of the largest financial institutions, ranging from HSBC and BBVA to payment providers you wouldn't necessarily have heard of. Markets like Japan, I think, are still unlocking. The market opportunity here is massive. You have trillions of dollars flowing cross-border globally. It's still largely dominated by the SWIFT network, if you will. And that's architecture. That's a technology architecture that's developed 50 years ago. There's an opportunity to modernize. That takes time, particularly when you have a government in the US kind of combating that innovation. But that's changing now. The Trump effect, if you will, is profound. You're seeing that in asset prices, but you're also going to see that in the adoption of these technologies.
Yeah, and I think so. When you're looking at the growth story then of Ripple, does it still come from overseas? Or are you expecting a change in terms of domestic interest in Ripple?
Good question.
Well, we're definitely already seeing a change in the domestic interest. The 6 weeks after President Trump was elected, we signed more deals in the United States than we had in the previous 6 months. So these are very innovative technologies. I think they're going to play out over 10, even 20 years in terms of how they integrate and rewire the financial infrastructure of the United States. That's across payments. That's across even the settlement of maybe real estate transactions, securities transactions. So I think we're going to see this play out over a long arc. But the United States is finally unlocked, and I think people are underestimating how big that change is. Yep. And you'll see that continue to play out this year.
Remember, guys, for a long time, if you didn't know this, for a long time under the Biden administration, if a bank or a financial industry, financial market, whatever, touched cryptocurrency, you would be getting a Wells notice from the SEC. If you don't know what a Wells notice is basically the SEC telling you they intend to sue you. Okay. We have never had a live crypto market where banks and financial institutions can finally not only hold crypto, custody crypto, but also use crypto in its payments infrastructure. Now, stable coins will play a much larger role in domestic payments, right? Domestic payments are easier, they're cheaper. You don't need all of these extensive rails. You can do that through central banks, especially in the United States. But when you go cross-border or FX, that is really when XRP can shine. Remember, any value coming on chain, whether it's in the value of the RLUSD stablecoin, or if it's another bank that decides to create their own stablecoin on the XRP ledger, we'll take all that value, right? If you watch my multiplier effect video, you know everything just got 50 to 100 times easier. We don't need to bring on $580 trillion to reach a $10,000 XRP. We can do it simply with $5 to $10 trillion of actual value on the XRP ledger. I was extremely bullish after doing the research in that video because I really had no clue. And that's the great and awesome thing about this. You are constantly learning something every single day, right? I heard about this a long time ago, but like I didn't have enough information at the time, right? To believe it. And then I completely forgot about it. Zach Rector, brought it up and I just had to it was like a dog bone, man. I had to find out more. I had to learn more. I had to test what we were seeing. And man, I have some follow-ups for that. More testing, right? We want to make sure we understand what type of multiplier effect can happen, what things add to that multiplier effect. I'm going to lay it all out for you in a video series coming up on this channel. Let's get back to the interview.
Yeah. Now, President Trump spoke at the Digital Asset Summit in New York City last week. Here's a clip. Watch.
Pioneers like you will be able to improve our banking and payment system and promote greater privacy, safety, security, and wealth for American consumers and businesses alike. You will unleash an explosion of economic growth, and with the dollar-backed stablecoins, you'll help expand the dominance of the U.S. dollar I can already see that the energy and passion of the crypto community is the kind of spirit that built our country. And it is exciting to watch as you invent the future of finance. It's going to be right here in the USA, the good old USA. Together, we will make America the undisputed Bitcoin superpower and the crypto capital of the world.
And the president signed.
I'd rather have America be the XRP capital of the world instead of the Bitcoin capital of the world. I really, really want people around Trump to help him better understand the math behind paying off debt with Bitcoin. It's just not going to happen. All right. You might be able to pay off $1 trillion in the next 5 years, but that's it. If you really want to make a dent, if you really want to get the US out of hot water, somebody needs to get into Trump's ear and just explain the simple math behind a, $36 million. Actually, you know what? The US has 198,000 Bitcoin. It has no plans to buy more. It has no money to buy more at this time. They are working on some solutions to do that, but we have 198,000. If you wanted to pay the debt off with Bitcoin, with 198,000 Bitcoin, 37 trillion, you know how much Bitcoin would need to be each Bitcoin? Take a guess. $186 million per Bitcoin. Market cap of $3.92 quadrillion. Please, somebody get into Trump's ear, explain the math. I know that, the XRP army is a few million people, and 80,000 of you watch this channel. Somebody somewhere has some connections. Please let him know.
Signed 2 executive orders as part of his pro-crypto agenda, including strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology and establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and U.S. digital asset stockpile. Brad, give us your outlook and really what those 2 executive orders may do. What else do you need to see in order to see stability and growth out of digital assets?
Well, look, in terms of what else we need to see, I think what the president has already done is, and he has used the expression, promises made, promises delivered. The unlock for U.S. financial institutions is absolutely happening. Banks that were really hesitant and really nervous about touching crypto technologies or even helping their customers, those banks and those financial institutions are leaning in now. And that's a big deal for sure, not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. So he has certainly lived up, and I think we will see the U.S. finally start to catch up with the leadership we're seeing from other markets around the world that they've really taken the lead, and we need to invest here and see some of these U.S. companies thrive.
Yeah, and we've spoken with the regulators about this. We spoke with Cynthia Loomis 2 weeks ago and last week with French Hill as they craft the regulatory framework. What's most important to you in terms of the regulation part of this? Let me run this. Cynthia Loomis and French Hill with us just in the last 2 weeks. Here's what they said about regulation. Watch.
Bitcoin is a commodity, so it will be regulated by the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Some other cryptocurrencies look more like a security and should fall under the disclosure.
I'm so sick of Cynthia Loomis, right? How much money are Bitcoin? This is what I don't like about Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is.
So from this video, definitely went further than I wanted to. Someone came to the door, they kept talking and talking and talking. But as always, let's keep it pushing to this is SEC Chairman Jerome Powell's talking about the bank's reaction.
Our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and we think it's banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and sound. As a good number of our banks, right, that we regulate and supervise, do that. The threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in. Our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and we think it's.
So he is saying that they're actually going to let the banks do what banks do, which is weird that they've been fighting it all the time just to let it go open and let the banks actually do business versus having them regulated by the Fed. So I thought that was very interesting as well. This is XRP's and quietly testing major banks on Swift network. 11,000 institutions could be onboarding a bridge asset soon. Mega bullish. So basically, they've been testing the companies that are using the Swift network. So at some point, XRP could start moving into that territory. So this is the video I was actually trying to get to. This is Ripple's David S. confirms Enterprise DeFi is on the main focus for XRPL. DeFi will bring much utility to the XRP. So that's what I was
Already, everybody,
mentioning.
what is going on? Welcome.
XRP is on the verge of actually making the switch from just a regular um, project crypto software cross-border payment to getting deep into the cross-border environment. Let me know what you guys think about that as well.
Back to another CyberX video banger. In today's video breakdown, we're going to be diving into how the XRP ledger is playing a pivotal role in this emerging financial infrastructure where DeFi is being integrated to create a level playing field, the level playing field that Donald Trump talked about in his last term.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field, because that's the only way it's fair.
Is through the utilization and implementation of DeFi into this new financial infrastructure. We're going to be diving into some video clips showing you all how David Schwartz, speaking on stage, has highlighted some of the very points that Donald Trump Jr. has also recently been discussing in some of his own appearances on recent panel discussions. So if you all enjoy these types of deep dives, putting these interconnected webs together for you guys, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. So as you all heard, Donald Trump mentioned a level playing field. If we come over here to a recent post from CoinDesk, I posted this to you guys back on December 31st, 2024, and it is a fundamental piece that says, Donald Trump Jr. talked about how he sees DeFi as what our founding fathers intended for our country, as it brings back fairness to the financial system.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field, because that's the only way it's fair.
Eric Trump said on the session that DeFi needed to be easier to use for regular people, noting the extreme difficulties he encountered when looping Ethereum on Aave, a decentralized lending platform. The reason why I highlighted that is because it goes on to confirm that Eric Trump has utilized a DeFi lending platform, right, and knows about DeFi. Now, if we come over here to this recent panel discussion that David Schwartz was a part of, listen to what he says is their primary focus.
It's tremendously exciting. I feel like we really are on the cusp of a mass institutional adoption, both of DeFi, and of other blockchain technologies.
So on this panel discussion on CoinDesk Live that was posted only 6 days ago and has only 222 views, he went on to say that he believes that we are on the cusp of mass institutional adoption of DeFi and blockchain technologies. Then over here on another panel that David Schwartz was on, posted by Bank XRP from ETH Denver 2 weeks ago, listen to what David Schwartz says here in this particular video breakdown as to what the focus is for the XRPL.
Everything else. I think the XRP ledger is going to stay focused in the short term on enterprise DeFi. I think the XRP ledger is going to stay focused in the short term on enterprise DeFi, and then over the next couple of years on all the retail use cases that enterprise DeFi will enable. It's kind of like what happened with stablecoins. Stablecoins are an enterprise product for enterprise customers directly. Like most people here if anybody here who's used USDC, you probably didn't get it from Circle, right? You got it from an exchange, or you got it from a decentralized exchange or something. So I think those same things will happen. These enterprise use cases will enable DeFi consumer use cases. And I think that's where you're going to see the XRP ledger focusing.
So you have a second panel discussion where David Schwartz is specifically talking about the XRPL focusing on DeFi use cases. Now, let's fast forward to a later discussion where he mentions again for a second time in this interview, enterprise DeFi on the XRPL. And I want you to really pay attention to what he says, because this is going to go hand in hand with what individual representatives from World Liberty Finance said on stage at the Ondo Summit 2025 back on February 6th.
Shared an update on XRPL's institutional DeFi roadmap. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, so we've been doing two things. Ripple's sort of philosophy is that the next growth phase for blockchains is around enterprise DeFi. And by which I mean things like stablecoins are an enterprise product. Tokenized real world assets are an enterprise product, but they're growing on layer one blockchains for two reasons. One of them is very stupid, but it's true. It's actually cheaper to launch a tokenized real world asset on a blockchain than through the traditional, like you would have to get a provider to hold the database for you. You would have to have regular audits. Well, blockchains are very easy to audit. They're very transparent. They're very cheap. Believe it or not, a major driver for enterprise adoption for tokenized real world assets is that the transaction fees are smaller. And it sounds ridiculous because the amounts of money that they're dealing with seem very large. It's like, well, it's $5 million. It's a $5 million position. How does a transaction fee make a difference? But if you're holding $5 million in tokenized treasuries, the amount of margin that the issuer is making is microscopic. Your yield is microscopic. The margins are microscopic. So we're gonna bring enterprises in for dumb reasons. Like it saves them money, it's more transparent. They're not going to understand that it's going to do the same thing that stablecoins do. People use stablecoins for use cases that they could never use any other asset for. Like you can't use a non-on-chain asset as collateral for some DeFi application. And what's going to happen is they're going to learn that by tokenizing these real world assets, all of a sudden they're going to realize that like they can target brand new use cases, brand new applications, brand new user base. So the strategy is to add the features necessary to get that enterprise adoption that paves the way for mass retail adoption. If we want to like take over finance, we need the really boring. I need a checking account. I need a savings account. I need a retirement account. I need a stock portfolio. I need sensible investments. I need the equivalent of certificates of deposit. We have to build all the boring stuff, and enterprises are what's going to make that possible. So the strategy is over the next year and a half to 2 years, bring in the enterprises with these features around tokenized real. They're going to do it for dumb reasons. Some of them will be visionaries. Some of them will see this vision and they'll come to blockchains because they understand that it's like revolutionizing finance. But a lot of them will be here just because it's cheaper and faster and it works on weekends and it has these tiny little advantages that are better is better, right?
So he's talking about mass retail adoption, enterprise DeFi adoption, and how all of a sudden these individuals are going to wake up and realize it's faster, it's cheaper, and they're going to have like an aha moment. He also mentioned and talked about how they need to revolutionize things that are boring, like a checkings account or a savings account. Pay attention to that, because not only does he mention that on this panel discussion, but he also mentions it on the other panel discussion. But let's go over to this individual gentleman here from World Liberty Finance. Listen to what he says here about how when everybody realizes this, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, they're going to have an aha moment. Exactly what David Schwartz says. Keep in mind, they're sitting next to Donald Trump Jr., who has already told you guys in this fundamental piece. Donald Trump Jr. talked about how he sees DeFi as what our founding fathers intended for the country. And what is David Schwartz talking about? DeFi adoption, enterprise DeFi adoption, retail DeFi adoption, institutional DeFi adoption, right? You cannot make this stuff up. Take a second and listen to what this gentleman here says.
We've seen for a long time, we've been involved in crypto for 10 years plus at this point. And I think for us, when it first clicked, we're like, oh my God, when everybody else catches on and understands like what we figured out a decade ago, everything's going to change.
All of a sudden, they're going to realize that like they can target brand new use cases,
from finance to real estate to transactions, contract law, everything, right?
That is a huge statement. He's literally confirming that people just have not caught up to what is happening right now. And if you heard what David Schwartz says, this is not going to happen in another year or two. This is going to take time. Now, keep in mind, David Schwartz also talked about revolutionizing the checkings account in that previous panel discussion.
If we want to like take over finance, we need the really boring. I need a checking account. I need a savings account. I need a retirement account. I need a stock portfolio. I need sensible investments. I need the equivalent of certificates of deposit. We have to build all the boring stuff, and enterprises are what's going to make that possible. So the strategy is over the next year and a half to 2 years, bring in the enterprises with these features around tokenized real. They're going to do it for dumb reasons. Some of them will be visionaries. Some of them will see this vision and then they'll come to blockchains because they understand that it's like revolutionizing finance.
And over, take a second and listen.
I think now we also, Ripple has a new product, RLUSD, which is a stable coin, which we think is going to be great for applications ranging from things like payments to DeFi as a collateral, as a way of moving value from one place to another. And then, of course, the XRP ledger adding DeFi capability. That's not the first generation of DeFi capability was very experimental and it was looking for like absurdly high yield. It was gambling, let's be honest, it was gambling. That's cool, like that attracts people. Vegas was built on gambling, right? But like the next wave of real utility is going to be built around things that are much less interesting. A savings account is not super interesting. It doesn't provide high yield, doesn't have high risk. You don't check the balance of your savings account every day, but it has real world utility.
So exactly what I'm talking about. He specifically mentioned DeFi like 5 different times right there, right? He talked about how their focus is on revolutionizing things that are boring that still need to be revolutionized, like.
So as he mentioned, right, that's where it's going. And that's what really makes the money, right? The things that people aren't really interested in, aren't really excited about. But that's the best part of the XRP, right? Just these projects that are going to help you with finance, RWA, looking at different investments, being able to help you with mortgage payments, car payments, insurance models. There's all kind of new things. And the big one is cross-border payments. Everyone seems to be downplaying the cross-border payment thing, right? And if you know, like I know, there's trillions of dollars being sent from one country to another. And XRP can do it in a matter of hours versus days. So there will be wide scale adoption for that. And that's the biggest reason I've been telling people invest in XRP. So this is congratulations, XRP holders. You're about to get rich. We'll never see XRP under $1 again. Hit the like button if you agree. So this is Japan stock market is crashing ahead of Trump's Liberation Day. So let me know in the comments, what do you guys think is going to happen? April 2nd, when Trump does push forward with the Liberation Day. What a coincidence that the financial year in Japan starts on April 1st. So it begins Japan. XRP is all ready. Japan's financial year starts April 1st to March 31st. Japan's income tax is January 1st to December, but corporate tax charged accordingly to the corporate's own annual period. Most Japanese companies select their annual period to follow the government's fiscal year from April 1st through March 31st, which I've heard some people say is the actual year, right? That's why it's April 1st. April Fool's Day is fooling you from when the actual year starts versus the physical year. So I'm just trying to see what else is here. I'm not sure I understand that. Looking healthy to me. Trying to see the news articles. Let's go back to breaking news. The House of Representatives will hold a hearing on April 9th to advance legislation on digital asset regulation. And it's weird. It's like these guys are secretly trying to do all this. Nobody's telling you until now that there was a meeting on April 9th, which is next Thursday, give or take, for XRP in their regulation, right? So let's go back to Zach is a short, and there's a video from Stock Mo.
Is a long-term game. The entire financial system is shifting and changing. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about being early to something big. Ripple and Chipper Cash just partnered. And if you're wondering what Chipper Cash is, well, so Chipper Cash is a fintech firm focused on Africa to enhance cross-border payment solutions. So one of the things about Ripple is they do not shy away from partnering with companies outside the United States. And Africa is a huge opportunity right now in crypto. XRP is a long-term game. The entire financial system is shifting and changing. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about being early to something big. Ripple and Chipper Cash just partnered. And if you're wondering what Chipper Cash is, well, so Chipper Cash is a fintech firm focused on Africa to enhance cross-border payment solutions. So one of the things about Ripple is they do not shy away from partnering with companies outside the United States. And Africa is a huge opportunity right now in crypto. XRP is a
Definitely be a big partnership with Chipper and XRP. And I'm telling you guys, these cross-border payments are gonna be a huge revenue plus for XRP. Whenever XRP is updated and they actually start doing it, you're gonna see a massive gain to the transactions. But this is Stockmo. So let's see what Stockmo is talking about.
You can see at this particular moment in time, and I'm going to be blunt, the weekly candle has reversed. And you can see the 5 crossing the 13 officially. We are on that support that I had for the weekly candles. I've been showing you this. Now we got lower and it's been drifting back up, which I expect the next candle to start to push back up for that week. But we got April 2nd coming very, very soon. And so how bad are the tariffs going to be? Are they going to affect inflation? We're seeing some Fed people coming out since the last meeting. They are finally talking about it, and they are all saying pretty much the same word. That's right. That's right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Transitory's back, baby. Jay Powell, what are you doing to us? You're bringing it back? Yeah, they're saying the short. We're going to see from the tariffs are going to be short-lived, transitory, and should be gone. Now, I believe they're thinking up to the end of June, you're going to have some inflation. After June and all the tariffs and whatever's happening out there, we should see it start to drift back down. What you get, and I'll try to explain this to everyone, then we'll get into the XRP. What you get is pretend you're a company right now, and you're an international company, and you're in the US and you're selling tons of products, and the president says, I'm going to enact a ton of tariffs against these countries where you have your factory set up. In other words, it's going to cost a lot more, or you don't even have your factory set up. This is just where you get your goods and you need to import them. So what do? Do you just continue as normal? Or you hear, hey, we're going to have a 25% tariff. So you think I'm going to stock up for the next 6 months to a year's worth of inventory pre-tariff. And I'm going to have I'm going to have some higher cost up front here in terms of inventory, but the 25% tariffs are going to be big, or 20%, or whatever they are. And so you order a ton to supply up for the year. And in doing that, you avoid the tariffs. And now you have all the goods in here ready to be sold for the next year. So I think a lot of companies did that, and they had this massive, but in doing that, you jump demand short term. Demand goes through the roof because of the companies are all ordering, and cost goods and service goods become more expensive. Everybody's trying to make them. Labor, you got to pay more. Everybody has to. At the end of the day, that gets passed on to the consumer in the short term. Now, as that demand, all of a sudden, after a couple of months go by, the factories, everybody else, are like, hey, we don't have the demand. Yeah, well, one, if prices are higher in the States, it means people don't have as much money in terms of spending on different items. So I have $10 and a soda's $1, I buy 10 sodas. But if it goes up to $1.10 and I have $10, I can only buy 9 sodas. So we can't buy as much even though we have our income. So that is on the plate as well. So put it all together. Short-term inflation, demand drops because one, the suppliers out there, the companies are already loaded up to prepare for this, the tariffs and everything else. And the Fed believes after that, a couple months afterwards, because now they already have everything, the demand drops, prices start to come down, and there you go. They believe that will go by. Now, I showed a few videos on here where I think it was ARK calling for massive deflation on the second half of this year, and they may be right. I'm leaning towards that. And then there's other people calling for massive inflation. I'm not on that side of the fence. Now, you may say, why do I care about any of this? I'm here for the XRP, Mo. I'm here to hear about XRP, and I get it. But you have to understand the macroeconomic situation of everything, that it will affect it. No, so with the terror of tariffs, you have a lot of people out there risk offing. In other words, they are taking the risk and they're reducing it. It means crypto. They're going look at Buffett, man, going heavy into treasuries, continuing to lower the equity holdings he has. And you see a lot of big money moving into safety until this is all done. So if they move into treasuries, just treasuries, and they got their money in treasuries, they don't lose money if the market tanks. If anything, they continue to make money on the treasuries, and they're killing it. And they're getting their 4 to 5% interest every year. And even
I was trying to get the volume up, but I don't know what's going on today. For some reason, the volume booster is not working. So I guess we'll go to Oscar, the next video. I don't know what happened with the stock Mo video.
if the market drops 10, 20%.
And I don't know why the volume is so low on these videos. But let's see what Oscar has to say and ride that out, I guess, for today.
Stocks, what have you. It's a pretty big day today. Before and at Donald J. Trump's inauguration, which was January the 20th. But starting January the 21st until today, the end of March, what we have seen is a bunch of manipulation, policies, geopolitics affecting the space, mostly with tariffs and other different news. And by now, you already know that. And with all of that, plus we got some really, really, really good news. The SEC, the Ripple case, more ETF applications, and other different breaking updates when it comes to stable coins and more. Crypto summits and announcements, partnerships. And you're telling me that through all of that, we are still slightly above $2, which yesterday when we were talking during the live, the price rejected the 206 and we started pumping the 220. Usually, we go to bed here in the US and I woke up 202. Typical. I'm used to that. That's why I leave some cash in the side for today. You have two lines, right? The horizontal yellow is the $2 XRP. The vertical is going to be Wednesday, April 2nd, which you already know by now if you've been supporting the channel, which I appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you for being here. Now, I want to tell you a few things when it comes to XRP, what we could expect. Are we going to go under $2? Which I ask you, with over 2,500 votes, most of you said yes, that we were going to go under $2 XRP. So not only I'm saying that there's a big chance Bitcoin got to 81,300, 80,000 in some exchanges. So there's a chance that we're going to go and bleed a little bit more. Then some shorts are making a bunch of money, and I'll tell you where you guys can start if you want, right? But it's over for the first quarter one officially. great stuff. Finally, we can turn the page to Q2, right? Could be better. But XRP, so many people told me, it's going to go to zero. It's going to go back under $1. It's going to go to pennies or so, 50 cents. But no, they were wrong, right? They were wrong. And we're still rocking after 21 days. I mean, it's kind of crazy, March 10th all the way to March 31st. And it's really nice to see all those news, all the pumps, all the chances to take profits, guys. Do me a favor and smash the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel and turn on those notification bells. Welcome back. It's a brand new week, and it's about to be a brand new quarter, and it's about to be a brand new month. So that's what I'm saying. For a lot of people investing in crypto and stocks, what have you, it's
What's up, Pip? How's it going, man? Just going through some XRP. For some reason, my videos aren't coming through loud, though. I got to figure that out. But getting back to Oscar and his updates. See if we can finish this one out.
It's a pretty big day today, to close the quarter, to close the month, and to start brand new week. Now, I got some news before we actually dive into the price of XRP, guys. Number one, they continue doing it and they don't care about us. What do I mean? Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, they continue acquiring and acquiring and acquiring more Bitcoin, guys. This guy is not going to stop, man. And he now bought with an average price of $86,000. He's always buying a little bit higher during maybe Saturday or Sunday, and he posts on Monday. This is how typically he does it. So kudos to him, right? Many of us want 1 Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoins or so, but he can buy in 20,000 plus batches with $1.92 billion total. Yeah, guys, the millionaires and the billionaires, they already are wealthy and they want to just solidify their positions, right? When Bitcoin goes past $109,000, which is the all-time high, it's going to be golden, basically. Now, guess who? The Trump family now is getting into the mining business. Trump brothers invest in American Bitcoin mining, which is not surprising. And guys, the Trump family, they're already super mega wealthy. And now they have World Liberty Financial. They have the Trump meme coin. They have all kinds of power. And now they're going to, of course, have their own Bitcoin company, mining company. Not surprised. And, Eric Trump spoke about predictions when it comes to crypto and Ethereum. And, just comes to show that nobody knows what's happening soon. Nobody knows what's happening in the future. And back at the very beginning of February, it was the very beginning of the tariffs, basically. So he could have known that tariffs were coming, and then not to say this. In my opinion, it's a great time to add Ethereum. You can thank me later. And Ethereum was at 3,000 or so. Now it's $1,700. So if you bought Ethereum when he said to add Ethereum, you are highly down, almost 50%. So yeah, guys, it's kind of like interesting how things are moving, of course, in the market. Here's BTCC fam, which you're more than welcome to join me. First link down below, the positions, the XRP. But now that I told you here the history here, let's go to the 1 hour and see what could we expect later today. So guys, take a look at this one. If you want to start your positions and 10% deposit bonuses as well, 40% lower trading fees, guys, up to and no VPN or KYC. I got 2 links down below for you, BTCC and BitUnex, up to 10,000 and up to 8,000 welcome bonus. These are 2 of my greatest partners here in the channel, and I want you guys to sign up, deposit if you are looking for an exchange after a few more days. But we're just waiting for that bottom. I'm not saying here that 202 is the bottom. No, that is not. To me, we're going to still go lower as we're waiting for this line, which is going to be the second. That's going to be Wednesday. As we are heading there, wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more blood in the streets, right? But that's for you guys to think about, right? That's my analysis. That's the way I see it, and we'll keep you in the know. Because, guys, this is crypto, and things can change like this. Right now, we're waiting a few kind of like updates from the SEC. Also, the banking committee, they're also updating us when it comes to digital assets. They're going to have some roundtables as well. You know, everyone right now, I think, is giving us some opportunities to listen and to see, okay, what's ahead. CPI, we're going to have that next month. Another FOMC in May. April, there's no FOMC, but it's a decisive moments, you know, as far as rates and as far as unemployment, as far as, you know, all those important metrics that we follow to say we're heading into a recession or we should be fine. And Trump already wants to cut the rates, right? And if that happens, that could be signaling QE, quantitative easing, right? But as of right now, Jerome Powell at the Fed is not signaling that. He's still QT for a while, and we'll just have to wait and see that one, right? Assuming that the tariffs are not going to take over the conversation, because right now it's what everybody's talking about, right? And I showed you yesterday, you know, during the videos and the live, how he's ready to impose more on Russia. He's ready to impose more on, you know, China and other different states. So we'll see, fam, what happens. But it's gonna be pretty crazy, you know, when it comes to Trump. You never know what's gonna happen. Let me go ahead and kind of like take a look at the latest here, which here's one. All right. 32 minutes ago, Justin BlackRock CEO Larry Fink says US dollar is at risk of losing its reserve status to Bitcoin. That is Larry Fink, right? I mean, the BlackRock CEO. So that's going to be a good news for the Bitcoin holders. He buying, the guys getting into that mining company. And here it is. Reciprocal tariffs are coming on all countries, right? And accordingly, you know, allegedly, President Trump says he's very angry at Putin threatening secondary tariffs. So he is just giving tariffs like hot candy, you know. We'll see really what happens there, because one of those stories goes wrong in the wrong direction, and we're gonna have a major trade war that is not gonna affect that it will indeed affect, you know, the market. But just FYI, fam. There you have it, everybody. Right now, what I'm projecting is this one is rejecting because people are waking up today here in the United States. You know, this happened as we were sleeping. We're waking up. Could be going to 215 or so, and then hours later, you know, 10 hours later, which I have seen before, we're back at, you know, under 2 or so. So I'm going to be waiting, not rushing. And I'll see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, fam. Like and subscribe. And take a look at the links down below. I'll see you there trading.
So shout out to Oscar for joining the Black Tiger Miner Crypto News Network with his contribution there. Sorry about that. Waiting for the next dip before DCing in some more, maybe next week. Actually, Pip, I think it's probably going to happen this week when they announce these new tariffs coming out. Probably April 2nd or 3rd, maybe even tomorrow, April 1st, which is going to be pretty exciting, all the stuff that happens on April 1st. But we will see. But make sure you guys are fully following the Black Tiger Miner News Network, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of scams and a lot of nonsense that's going to happen tomorrow. So we want to help you guys wade through that as well. Haven't bought any crypto in nearly 2 months. Hopefully we're off to the races after the next dip. I think you're right, Pip. Hopefully we're going to start to bounce back after these tariffs announced. There's going to be a slight dip, but once the smoke settles from the tariffs and this Liberation Day, I think then everything will start to, I guess, mellow out. And then we can look forward to regular crypto.
Are loading up an XRP in the charts.
But let me know what you guys think about that. And we'll go to Rip Bullwinkle real quick and finish up the day. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let's see what Rip Van Winkle has to say about the U.S. government gave XRP the green light, and what does that mean?
Screaming one thing: we're going up. Major market events are on the horizon, and if you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss out on some big old times. Stay locked in, because the next few minutes, I'm breaking down exactly what's happening, what's coming next, and how you can capitalize on this insane bull run. But before we dive in, smash that like button, subscribe if you're ready for life-changing gains, and let's send this video viral. Let's get into it. Bitcoin, $82,159. It's currently down 1.34% in the past 24 hours. Ethereum coming in at 1,811. It's currently down 1.35%. USDT is coming in at its dollar peg. USDC has fallen below at 99 cents, and XRP keeps on creeping on down, coming in at $2.07. It has finally flipped red on the 90-day, coming in at 0.02% on the 90-day chart, and it's down a little over 4% in the past 24 hours. Total cryptocurrency market cap, $2,628,000,000,000. Folks, finally, my game is released. Make sure you head over to koj.luxlionsnft.com. I will be dropping it below. This is free to play. You need to make an account. Look, very simple. Hit the create account button. This will make you your brand new wallet. Choose your Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, Discord, or Apple login. It will create your account. You will log on in here. It will pop up. I'm going to connect my Gmail account. That's where my account is made. Once you log into the game, everyone who makes an account for a limited time will receive 20 cards right here. You will receive a new starter deck. It has 20 cards in it. This is for a limited time only, so you can start playing. You want to go through your adventure mode? You mint fire. There's multiple. I wish I could rewind and go back to the time where Bitcoin was I'll go back to the time where Bitcoin was $1,000. I'll go back to where Bitcoin was $10,000. You want to give me an 8x on my money? No problem. Folks, these people in this room right now were just a couple of the lucky few. Let's listen to a couple seconds of this clip. Oh, you're not getting audio. Hold on. You see, I got an update and it jacked it up. We can fix that real quick. Boom. Did that do it? That didn't do it. Well, you know what? Maybe next time. Desktop audio headphones. It just doesn't like it. Mic to gaming, real tech. Is it my? Well, I'll play with it. I apologize. You can't hear. Get that fixed. That unemployment report. 6 days after that, inflation data releases. Markets are likely to experience swings during this period. Trade carefully and adjust your positions accordingly. We get a
Yeah. I was actually really hoping to hear that, but I guess it's not working. But either way it goes, everybody's having weird audio issues today, so no worries there. And Pip, I need to double check that as well, but I'll keep you posted when the announcement's made for Turbo next week. But I don't want to hold you guys. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and super chat. And as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous. Miner out.